Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 16. The fool's anger is known at once, but a prudent man conceals dishonor. Another translation gives a bit more picturesque description of this person. It says, a stupid fool's irritation is known immediately, but the prudent man ignores an insult. Now, the fool is someone we bumped into and run into often in the book of Proverbs. We read about the fool's anger, his temper, his tongue, his actions, his reactions, his thoughts, his desires. We read about his hands, his eyes, and his feet. The Proverbs describes how a fool acts, mentioning all these things. Because a fool is not just a fool in one area of life, or a fool does not just manifest his foolishness with certain parts of his body. Foolishness is resident in the heart, and from the heart come the issues of life, which means whatever is in the heart will be manifested in every aspect of the fool's life. His marriage, his parenting, his job, his private life, his public life, his friends, his decisions, his emotions, etc. But probably no area of a fool's life gets more time in Proverbs than in the area of self-control, especially when it comes to the tongue. Fools very often would seem to lack any semblance of self-control. They are seen as out of control, especially when provoked or insulted. A fool's anger is known at once, not in an hour or a few minutes, but immediately. Their temper has a hair trigger. I have little doubt that if we were to walk through the corridors of your local prison and ask people what they did to get in there, most of them would in one way or another reflect the truth of this verse, that a fool's anger is known at once. They were irritated, provoked, insulted, or whatever, and they lost it. Fists start flying, knives and guns are pulled out. And before they have time to think about what they were doing, they had killed or severely hurt someone, maybe a spouse, a friend, or even a child. They lost control, like they always do. Fools are not marked by self-control, but rather doing what is right in their own eyes. They're driven not by wisdom, but by feelings. Self-centered form of justice which elevates everything done against them, and they must avenge themselves. But in hindsight, yes, if they were honest, they could have walked away. But their anger is so used to being acted upon in the moment, they had no discipline. Just do what you always do. But this time they went too far, and they now find themselves behind bars for maybe many, many years or for the rest of their lives. A lesson learned, but too late. I read an article recently about what it's like to live with a narcissist, listing characteristics of such a person. And a narcissist, as we know, is someone who is totally obsessed with themselves. They can be cruel and dangerous at times, and in some ways it's just another more respectable name for a fool. But they listed several things, but numbers 9 and 10 on the list they gave are what Proverbs lays out for us throughout the book, and in our verse today as well. Number 9, it says, I expect you to be loyal to me at all times, no matter what I do. However, don't expect me to be loyal to you in any way. And then right after that, number 10, this is what it's like to live with a narcissist. I will criticize you and expect you to accept it. But if you criticize me, especially in public, I will come at you with rage. And one more thing, I will never forget or forgive, and I will pay you back one way or the other. I am a wound collector. Sound familiar? A stupid fool's irritation is known immediately. Is this verse not a commentary on our society, wound collectors? You can't question people, or heaven forbid you try to correct them. If you do, watch out. Every insult must be avenged. It's a sad commentary on a life that's turned its back on God. A fool has said in his heart, there is no God, or worse, I'll be my own God, and I'll be my own avenger. But the second part of this verse shows the contrast. The prudent man ignores an insult or conceals dishonor. The prudent person doesn't allow a person's actions toward them to dictate how they will act or react to them. The prudent have learned to ignore an insult. What's the point of seeking to defend every insult, every innuendo? It's impossible. The prudent trust the Lord to watch over them, to guard their reputation, to avenge them one day. The Bible promises they will. God will. The prudent have learned self-control. It doesn't mean the accusations don't hurt. It simply means they are not governed by their emotions. They have learned to discipline themselves for godliness. So let me ask you a question as we wrap this up. Which person would you rather be married to, be friends with? If you're a young person reading this or listening to this and you're dating or getting ready to date, pay attention to the person you're dating. How do they react? How do they react to insults? What's the demeanor of their character suggest? Are they fools or are they prudent? A stupid fool's irritation is known immediately, but the prudent man ignores and insults. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.